It was an outcome few dared to predict, and one that has already sent shockwaves through the world of sports and global finance. On a warm evening in Munich, Paris Saint-Germain stormed through the Champions League final, flattening Inter Milan 5-0, the largest winning margin in the history of the competition. The world watched in disbelief as PSG, long viewed as Europe's nearly men, completed a historic treble and rewrote both the record books and the future of football economics. But what if I told you that this victory isn't just about football or glory on the field? In fact, it's a seismic event with massive financial, technological, and geopolitical aftershocks, one that could change the way money flows in the global game, rewire broadcast deals, and alter the power balance between leagues and nations. And it may even challenge the limits set by football's own financial watchdogs. How did PSG get here, and what does their triumph mean for the bigger economic game of football? Did the plan laid out by the club's Qatari owners finally pay off? Or have they simply set the stage for a new era of financial and regulatory conflict? Let's dive into the untold story behind that night in Munich and unravel its billion-euro consequences for the entire football ecosystem. For decades, Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, was just another well-supported European club, with passionate fans but little continental pedigree. Founded in 1970, the club spent most of its history fighting for domestic relevance, overshadowed by powerhouse clubs from England, Spain, Germany, and even by their French rivals. All of that began to change in 2011. That year, Qatar Sports Investments, an arm of the Qatari government, purchased PSG. Their ambitions were anything but modest. Qatar, flush with natural gas and oil wealth, saw football as a powerful global platform, a way to expand its international image, attract investment, and build sporting influence. Suddenly, PSG became a test case for a new era of football ownership, where sovereign wealth, rather than local billionaires or fan groups, called the shots. The club's spending exploded. Record signings, Neymar for $222 million, the most expensive transfer in history, followed swiftly by Kylian Mbappé, the French superstar in waiting. Season after season, PSG seemed to have every advantage money could buy, but European glory eluded them. They were, as critics love to point out, bottlers when it mattered most. They crashed out in shocking upsets and suffered painful defeats, like the infamous loss to Bayern Munich in the 2020 final. But behind the recurring heartbreak was something far bigger. PSG's owners were pouring billions into the club, imagining themselves as the vanguard of a new footballing order, one where state-backed wealth could finally break the old elite's hold on Europe. And then, finally, it happened. Under Luis Enrique, PSG's tactical master, the 2024 Champions League campaign became a showcase of both footballing brilliance and boardroom planning. The team swept aside European giants, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, before dismantling Inter Milan with a ruthless display of pace, precision, and hunger. Fans erupted. Opposition managers watched in awe. The footballing world suddenly looked very different. But what's even more surprising is what happened off the pitch. Almost overnight, PSG's brand value is expected to soar by 15%. Jersey sales skyrocketed by 40%, not just in Paris, but everywhere from Lagos to Jakarta. PSG's social media engagement went off the charts, surging by an incredible 250%. 500,000 fans filled the streets of Paris for the victory parade, a sea of blue, red, and white that sent a message far beyond France. And it's not just PSG that stands to gain. Ligue 1, often dismissed as a farmers' league, in comparison with England's Premier League or Spain's La Liga, could see its total revenues jump by 8%. This isn't just a trophy, it's a rocket engine for French football's international standing, and it's pressuring global broadcasters and investors to take the French game seriously. Listen to Kieran Maguire, leading sports finance expert. PSG's Champions League victory will significantly enhance their commercial appeal and unlock new revenue streams. Christophe Lepetit, a top French sports economist, agrees. PSG's win will have a cascading effect on Ligue 1, boosting its international visibility and attractiveness to investors. The business of European football is about more than goals and passion. It's an intricate web of sponsorships, TV deals, and billion-euro enterprises. Winning the Champions League opens doors. Ticket prices for PSG's future European home games are expected to rise by 10 to 12%. The club can now command far higher fees for global sponsorships and expanded partnerships in key markets like Asia and North America. As Vincent Chaudel observes, The Champions League win provides PSG with a unique opportunity to expand its brand in key markets. In other words, this isn't just a sporting triumph, it's a triumph of strategy, timing, and relentless investment. It's a new chapter in the global race for footballing dominance. It sets up PSG and France as contenders in the battle for fans, revenues, and influence, not only in Europe, but around the world. But every revolution comes with its own set of challenges, and this story is far from over. Imagine you're in the offices of UEFA, European football's governing body, the morning after PSG's victory. There's excitement, but also deep concern. For years, UEFA has tried to keep club spending under control with a set of rules called Financial Fair Play, or FFP. These regulations were designed to prevent clubs from spending wildly beyond their means, especially those fueled by oligarchs or state money. FFP was supposed to protect smaller clubs and keep the playing field even, at least in theory. But PSG's rise has tested those limits like never before. The club's Qatari owners have spent vast sums, not just on players, but on commercial partnerships, marketing, stadium improvements, global academies, the works. Critics argue they've found clever ways to work around FFP rules, inflating sponsorship values or benefiting from friendly state-linked backers. The governing bodies have opened investigations, levied fines, even threatened bans. Yet time and again, PSG keeps winning, both on the field and in the legal and financial gray zones. Rory Smith, chief football correspondent at the New York Times, puts it bluntly: PSG's triumph represents a shift in European football's power dynamics. There's another problem too. With more money comes more pressure, for PSG, for Ligue 1, and for all of European football. Can other French clubs compete, or will PSG's dominance choke off competition at home? Will the English, Spanish, and German giants respond by pushing wages and transfer fees even higher, risking another financial arms race? Or might the backlash from traditional powers, angry at being upstaged by state-backed cash, lead to calls for new rules, stricter oversight, or even breakaway tournaments? Laura Georges, a former PSG and France international, sees both sides. This victory is a testament to the long-term vision and investment of the club's owners, she says, but sustaining it will be the real challenge. Already there are signs of tension. UEFA officials are reportedly considering tightening FFP regulations, reviewing sponsorship deals linked to club owners, and increasing financial transparency. Some politicians, including those in the European Parliament, have started asking whether football is losing its soul to money and state interests. At the heart of the storm, PSG faces questions of its own. Kylian Mbappé, perhaps their greatest ever player, has already left the club this summer. There's uncertainty over future reinvestment. Will the owners keep spending, or is this as good as it gets? How will the club balance growing commercial pressures with maintaining a winning team? And crucially, will PSG's victory inspire transformation across Europe, or provoke a backlash that could threaten the very foundations of the football business? The future feels wide open, but one thing is certain: the aftermath of that night in Munich is only beginning to play out. Has PSG simply bought their way to sporting immortality, or have they triggered a new era of financial and regulatory chaos? Will their triumph lift French football to new heights, or tear apart the fragile balance keeping the European game alive? As the confetti settles and the world counts the billions at stake, a new set of battles is just beginning. What comes next in this high-stakes game? Opportunity or upheaval? With PSG's historic Champions League victory echoing across Europe and the world, the glitz and celebrations have faded into sobering questions. What does the future look like for PSG, for French football, and for the European game as a whole? Is this the start of a new dynasty, or the beginning of a grand tug-of-war over the soul of football itself? Already the aftershocks of PSG's win are reshaping the landscape. With a 15% projected jump in brand value and a record-breaking surge in global shirt sales, it feels like the sky's the limit for the club. 500,000 fans recently celebrated in the streets of Paris. Ligue 1, so often overshadowed by the Premier League or La Liga, suddenly finds itself thrust into the global spotlight. Yet behind the scenes, there is a sense of mounting anxiety. One of the biggest challenges looming over PSG is the ever-watchful eye of UEFA's financial fair play regulations. Just days after the final, confidential sources inside UEFA confirmed that PSG's finances would undergo increased scrutiny for the next cycle. Insiders say the club's wage bill and transfer outlays are among the highest in Europe, raising concerns about sustainable growth. In the short term, this could limit their flexibility in the transfer market, forcing them to prioritize academy graduates and shrewd signings over galactic stars. But this scrutiny isn't just regulatory, it's political. Rival clubs, feeling threatened by PSG's meteoric rise, have begun to lobby for even stricter spending limits. Imagine the boardrooms of Manchester United and Bayern Munich, where executives are urgently debating how to respond to the French club's ascendancy. In Italy and Spain, media voices call for a level playing field, stoking fan resentment against so-called state-backed clubs. The football world is dividing into camps, those who see PSG as pioneers of a new commercial and sporting order, and those who argue that their success is built on financial muscle that distorts competition. If UEFA decides to tighten the rules, PSG and similar clubs could face fines, transfer embargoes, or even disqualification from European competitions. In the worst-case scenario, this could spark a fresh wave of talk about a breakaway Super League, as top clubs seek to protect their interests. PSG's chairman, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, has always firmly opposed this, championing football's open pyramid. But if the walls start to close in, could even he be forced to reconsider? Then there's the question of competitive balance. PSG's dominance this season, in France and now Europe, has inspired admiration but also concern. Will Ligue 1 become a one-team league, with domestic rivals unable to keep up financially or athletically? Or will the influx of new TV money and heightened global attention finally give the likes of Marseille, Lyon, and Nice the resources to launch genuine challenges? Christophe Lepetit, an expert on sports economics, predicts that PSG's win will pull Ligue 1 upwards, attracting better players, more investors, and bigger sponsorship deals. But he also warns, there's a risk of greater inequality if the pie gets bigger, but only one club gets to eat. Internationally, PSG's victory is already creating ripple effects. Clubs in Asia and North America are reporting increased sales of PSG merchandise. U.S. networks are bidding for Ligue 1 broadcast rights at higher prices than ever before. Meanwhile, in China and Japan, PSG's social media engagement is skyrocketing, up an astonishing 250%. Vincent Chaudel, a leading marketing consultant, notes, "This is a golden window for PSG to become the world's second soccer super brand, perhaps only behind Real Madrid. The decisions they make now, community outreach, youth academies, smart sponsorships, will define their legacy for a generation." But the opportunities don't come without risk. The departure of Kylian Mbappé this summer, a megastar who has been the face of PSG's project, has left a huge gap on the pitch and in the club's global marketing identity. While the likes of Désiré Doué and Seny Mayulu are emerging as new icons, the pressure is immense. Can they combine youthful exuberance with the professionalism and star power that sponsors crave? For manager Luis Enrique, the next chapter is every bit as challenging as the one he just mastered. For French football as a whole, this is an inflection point. Ligue 1's rapidly rising revenue, expected to grow by 8%, could fuel improvements in stadiums, youth academies, and grassroots programs. If managed wisely, this could nurture a new golden generation of French talent. Yet the temptation for clubs to overspend in pursuit of short-term glory is very real. The cautionary tale of other leagues, where TV money led to boom and bust cycles, looms large. Will Ligue 1 seize this moment to build a strong, competitive ecosystem, or will it become a supporting cast in PSG's one-club show? All these changes are watched closely by fans, analysts, and rivals alike. There's an undeniable sense of excitement, but also of unease. Football is more than a business. It's a cultural phenomenon, a source of identity and pride. PSG's rise is prompting deeper questions. Can any club become a global titan just by spending enough? What is the cost to tradition and local loyalty? And what will happen if the regulatory pendulum swings too far in either direction? For the ordinary fan, all this might seem distant, but actually the lessons from PSG's story are universal, and they matter more than ever in today's hyper-connected, hyper-commercialized football world. First, PSG's journey is a masterclass in strategic vision. When the club's Qatari owners took control in 2011, they didn't just buy superstars, they invested in branding, infrastructure, and know-how. As Laura Georges, former French international and club ambassador, puts it, this victory is a testament to years of patient, behind-the-scenes work. It's a reminder that overnight success is rarely overnight. Whether you run a business, a community group, or manage your own career, the PSG blueprint shows the power of long-term planning and adaptability. Second, PSG's path underscores the value of embracing innovation, on and off the pitch. From aggressive global marketing to pioneering data analytics and modern coaching methods, the club has left little to chance. By cultivating a strong youth academy and scouting network, they have created a sustainable pipeline of talent. The lesson for viewers? In any field, innovation is the key to breaking through entrenched hierarchies, and the bold often win the greatest rewards. Third, there's a caution here about the dangers of over-reliance on a single strategy or superstar. PSG's looming challenge in the post-Mbappé era is both sobering and instructive. Building a resilient system, one that can adapt when circumstances change, is crucial for lasting success. In sport, as in life, true dominance comes from depth, flexibility, and culture, not just a big splash or an individual genius. And fourth, PSG's story highlights the importance of responsible growth. As football becomes ever more global, clubs are tempted to chase short-term riches. But the history of the game is littered with giants who flew too close to the sun. For individuals and organizations alike, sustainable progress is about balancing ambition with discipline, growth with values. So what does this mean for you, the viewer? Maybe you're an aspiring athlete, an entrepreneur, a student, or just a passionate fan. The rise of PSG is a living case study in how vision, innovation, and discipline can rewrite the rules of the game. Whether on the football field or in your own pursuits, these are the levers that move the world. And finally, it's worth remembering that football, like life, is unpredictable. Today's underdog can be tomorrow's champion. Today's dynasty can fall just as quickly as it rose. PSG's story is still being written, and its next chapters will be shaped not only by stars and strategy, but by the broader forces of regulation, competition, and culture. So, to the big question, will PSG's triumph become a blueprint for global football dominance, or will backlash and tighter regulations threaten to unravel it all? The real answer is, both scenarios are at play. PSG has certainly laid out a powerful blueprint, one defined by ambition, investment, and relentless self-promotion. They have shown that with vision and resources, a club can not only win, but change the culture of a league and even a continent. But the backlash is real. The ongoing regulatory challenges, political debates, and uncertain post-Mbappé future all threaten to slow or even destabilize their momentum. For PSG, the key will be to keep evolving, to balance commercial ambition with sporting fairness, to invest in youth as well as stars, and to work not only for their own glory, but for the future of French and European football. And here's a secret fact for you. According to a leaked marketing report, PSG's Champions League parade this year prompted a tenfold surge in youth football registrations in Paris. That's the true power of success, not just the trophies or the shirt sales, but inspiring the next generation and planting the seeds for a new era. So as the world watches PSG, remember, the story of football is always wider than just what happens on the pitch. Let us know your thoughts below. Is PSG's rise good for the game, or does it threaten the competitive spirit of football? And what lessons can you take from their journey to fuel your own ambitions? If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your opinion in the comments. For more stories on the